So, chapter 37, epistula, letter. Right. So, in this chapter, we saw a couple more forms of the infinitive. We saw the perfect active infinitive. We actually saw that before when we looked at the pluperfect subjunctive. It's one that ends in isse, right? And then the perfect passive infinitive, simply the participle plus sa, right? So, the more voices and tenses of the infinitive we know, the more we can do with indirect statements, right? That's going to be key here. I've underlined the verbs in red. I've underlined perfect infinitives in, not underlined, highlight them in yellow. Subjunctive verbs are green. One other odd thing here I highlight in red to look at. So, Gnaeus Julius Agricola Domitiano Imperatori Salutum Dicit. So, Gnaeus Julius Agricola, he says hello, says greetings to the Emperor Domitian. Right, we saw this before, first chapter of this book. So Septimus Annus est Domine, ex quo pater tuus divus Vespasianus ad provincia Britannia me misit, barbaro superandi causa. Tu ipse auditus precibus meis usisti Caledonius quoque in populi Romani potestatem redigi. Nunc tibi nuntio exercitum Romana magnum victoriam retulisse, bellum est confectum, Caledonii sunt victi. Right, so it is the 7th year, right, ordinal 7th, Lord, vocative, from which, right, relative, from which your father, the divine Vespasian, right, a deified emperor becomes a deus, not a deus, right? The divine Vespasian sent me to the province of Britain. All right, so first of all, superandi here. It looks like a gerundive is actually a gerund, right? That's a verbal noun. We'll talk about gerunds later. What I want you to know is that causa and gratia, and also the preposition ad, right? They're all prepositions. That they can be used to show purpose when they're paired up with gerundives or gerunds, right? So here we have a gerund that's going to work with gerundives too. All right, so that's why the book actually translates this for you as for the sake of overpowering, to overpower. So causa is for the sake of, right? And it's a preposition here. It's not the noun causa. Notice the macron over the A. Causa and gratia, odd because they take genitive objects and also their objects precede them normally. Okay, for the sake of, okay, and the gerund here means overpowering and has a direct object, the barbarians. Right? All right, so key thing here, know that causa and other prepositions, in particular gratia and ad, can be paired up with gerunds or gerundives, so when you have seen to show purpose. Okay, so for the sake of overpowering the barbarians. You yourself, okay, here we have the ablative absolutes. So my prayers or entreaties having been heard. Ordered, indirect statement, right? The verb's an infinitive, the subject is accusative. Ordered the Caledonians to be brought. This is a present passive, a third conjugation, right? The ERE went to just I. To be brought into, okay, in does not take populi or Romani, right? That's not the object of in because that's genitive, right? Needs an ablative or an accusative. Okay, here's an accusative. That's what we're looking for. So into the power, and the genitives here of the Roman people. Right? The object of the preposition will not necessarily be right next to it. Know what case you're looking for, in this case an ablative or an accusative, and see what you find. Not populi Romani, that's genitive. Potestatum, that's going to be the object. So into the power, now we throw that genitive in, of the Roman people. Now I announce to you another indirect statement. The verb's going to be the subject's going to be the accusative exercitum Romanum, and the verb is the perfect infinitive, retulisse. Right? So, truly, you recognize the principal part from Pharaoh. Right? So this is perfect, of course. The Roman army has brought back a great victory. Has brought back, has attained, has won a great victory. The war is finished. The Caledonians are conquered or have been conquered, right? Sunt victi, perfect passive. Initio huius aestatis exercitus noster ad ultimas partes Britannia provenit. Hostes adventu nostro cognito, propemontem graupium se ad proelium instruxerent. Ibi milites nostri, and it goes on, but we'll get this first. So apple of time when? In the beginning of this summer, our army, pervenit, Macron, perfect, reached to the farthest parts of Britain. The enemy, apple of absolute. Our arrival having been learned. So in other words, the enemy having learned about our arrival, they instruxerent say they drew themselves up ad proelium for battle, where? Near Mount Graupius. There, our soldiers, adducti, led on or encouraged by the Alvamine spe, by hope of glory, genitive. Retilerant, they brought back or won a victory. Dignam, worthy. And remember, this adjective takes the ablative. What you're worthy of goes in the ablative. Worthy of your name. So they brought back or won a victory. Dignam, worthy of your name. Right? Adjectives and nouns don't have to be right next to each other. Right? Look at the endings and see what matches here in gender, number, and case. They go together. Right? So victoriam dignam, a victory worthy of your name. Non satis constat, so it's not generally agreed how many enemies perish. This is a perfect subjunctive, which they haven't given you yet, but it's a perfect subjunctive, so we'll see this form later. So how many enemies perished? I know, however, that very few, right, superlative, effugice, escaped. Perfect infinitive, right? So indirect statement here, introduced by Scipio. I know the accusative, paucissimos, did the infinitive. So very few escaped. My spies declare that indirect statement again, non nullis, not none, so some survivors. Salute desperata, so their safety being despaired about, so having despaired about their safety, we might say. Even incendice, right? There's our infinitive verb, so burned, perfect tense, their houses. And occidice, killed, right? Their wives and children, abla the means by means of their own hand, manu sua. Look at pretty hard. De bello satis dixi. So I said enough about war. Nunc bellum causae talendae sunt, nunc pax remanda est, omnibus eis preperci qui se dederent, per totem provinciam centuriones rementem ac tributum mollius quam ante et exigere iusi sunt, ego ipse Britannos rotatus sum ut templa fora domos extrant. Fili is principium persuasi ut linguam Latinum discant, mores Romani ad Britannis iam ad sumuntur, ubique aspiciuntur togae. Right, so now, okay, so talendai here is a gerundive, modifying causae, and we have a form of essay thrown in, so it's a passive periphrastic, right? So it's the causes of wars must be removed. Now, another gerundive, pramanda, another passive periphrastic. So now peace must be strengthened. Perperki, I spared, the perfect tense of parco. Notice a reduplicated consonant. I spared, takes a dative. I spared all of those who surrendered. They surrendered themselves. Through the whole province, the centurions, grain and tribute, comparative, right? More softly, more gently than before, have been ordered to collect. Just say. So, let's do it one more time. So, through the whole province, centurions were ordered to do the infinitive to say collect here, collect the grain and tribute mollius more softly, quam than before. Remember what the comparative quam usually means than. I myself, Bertinus hortatus sum, so I myself encouraged, right, deponent verb hortor, encouraged the Britons to do something, right? So it's an indirect command to exurant, to build temples, forums, houses. I persuaded, and this takes the dative, right? Fili East, I persuaded the sons of the chieftains to do something, another indirect command, to learn the Latin language. Roman customs now are being adopted, picked up by the Britons. Everywhere, togas are being seen. Delightful. Una cor tame me solicita. One care, however, worries me. Timeo ne inquieta sit Britannia. Right, this is the clause of fearing, a use of the subjunctive we haven't seen yet. Right? So it's introduced by a verb of fearing. So here, Timeo, I'm afraid. Also, something like periculum, there is danger that something happened. Tricky thing about clauses of fearing is that ne is not negative. Ut is actually negative. Ne will take us lest, right? Or it could be that. I usually go with lest. So I'm afraid lest Britain be unpeaceful, not quiet, while Hibernia Insula, the island of Hibernia, remains in liberty. To Ireland, right? Quod si Hiberno superaverimus rather. So because if we will have overcome the Hibernians, non modo pacem in Britannia habebimus, we will have not only peace in Britain, but also we will obtain future great riches. For I hear, right, from merchants, okay, indirect statement, what he hears. Metella, accusative plural, the mines of Hibernia contain much gold. Indeed, I believe this island what? Posse is able obtenere to be obtained, to be held by one legion. Okay. Two infinitives here, obtenere, posse. Posse, takes a complementary infinitive, so probably we'll take that first and then took the second infinitive in behind that one as a complement. So credo, two infinitives, which one? I believe to be obtained, or I believe to be able to be attained. That's it, right? So I believe this island is able to be attained by one legion, to be able to be held by one legion. Okay. The soldiers are prepared, have been prepared. They eagerly, alacriter, or I'm sorry, the sign of the emperor eagerly is awaited. Goodbye. Right? So the sign or the signal of the emperor eagerly is awaited. So we're ready to conquer Ireland. You just give us a word and we're going to go. We'll take it out, get all that gold. All right, so surely it'll be nothing but good times ahead for Agricola in the British Isles. So until next time.